We're back again with another and brand new episode. We're going to chat about all the things in gaming going on, both old and new. I'm Trev from Geekabouts on Facebook, and I'm with.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm from Playnation Games in Croydon. We got our own YouTube channel as well, and we like to think ourselves as London's finest retro game shop, as well as current gen, as well as trading card games as well,
I
and
think
board
the
games, and figures,
yes,
and
yes.
plushies.
You've got cans of Coke and stuff as well, haven't you? And sweet.
We do cans of Coke. We sell sugar to all the kids. They
Yeah.
play lots of video games. I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Whereas we just reminisce about the olden days, and before we rage. Well, we raged quit, but we did it on our own or next to someone while swearing at them. Whereas now it's over a microphone in Xbox Live. So yeah.
It did make me laugh actually, Trevor. You were halfway through doing your intro, and I thought it
Yeah.
was a smashing intro, and then in the top corner it popped up live halfway through your intro.
All right. Well, according to what I can see, we've been live, so I think we're all right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But anyway, I guess if we did miss like the last few seconds, this is episode 4 of Console Shop Radio. Thanks for tuning in again. So what we're going to do is we've got a few things we're going to go through first. I'm going to start with news, aren't we? 'Cause you've picked out some of the things that have happened.
Yeah,
over the
these
last
are. I mean, I looked. The last time we did was probably about 3 weeks ago when we last did a podcast. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. So
Yeah,
there's been quite a
yeah,
lot happening. So this isn't stuff that's just been,
new. Yeah,
live today.
yeah,
This is stuff that's sort of the main talking points over the last, 3 to 4 weeks.
yes.
So we'll start it off with the shortage of Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, they're having a good spell at the moment, mainly
Hmm.
because of, I think solely because of Super Smash Brothers.
I
Because
think
probably,
it's Super Smash Brothers,
yeah,
Pokemon, and Amiibos.
Mario Kart 8 probably started it, I guess, because everybody decided they wanted
Yeah,
a Wii U. I already had
yeah.
one, and ironically, I don't have any of these games at the moment. I've kind of gone off on a tangent. I had a little Nintendo phase about a year ago. I've
Mm.
kind of gone off on a tangent again. But yeah, they're having a pretty good spell. I mean, there's the issues we talked about it in a previous episode about them releasing this weird new 3DS. That's
About.
the 3DS, the new version that came out. That's like got a faster processor, but that's not out here yet. But I think we've moved on from that, and people are now just. I mean, we're getting excited about the Amiibos. I mean, I have no interest in these
Ah, there you are.
Skylander. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Hopefully this got recorded. So yeah, I mean, I have no interest in these Skylandery figure-based games.
Mm.
It's kind of like a weird sort of physically interactive Pokemon thing, isn't it? But I do think Nintendo are wise to join in with it because they've got loads of characters and they are kid.
Exactly. I mean, our second favourite shop on the High Street game. These figures retail, I think, 11.99 or 9.99, something around there, and they're selling them all for £15 at the moment. So
Yes.
adding a few extra pennies on there,
Do you
just boost to their Christmas coffers, as they say.
shoot? Do you sell them in your shop?
No, we don't. Our supplier didn't have any, unfortunately.
Oh
So,
right.
but in all honesty, we would have probably done the same. So I don't really want to take too much of the higher ground.
No. It's very
In all
typical.
honesty, but
Skylanders ones are about the same, aren't they? When I happen to see them, so it's just if people are buying them, people are they're gonna continue to sell at a higher price. So you
mm,
know,
do you know what you do with them? All you do when you're playing Smash Brothers and you're doing a multiplayer game, you
yeah,
put your little figure on there
a little
of
square
of Samus, and then he jumps in or she jumps into your game and is almost like a friend helping you.
like a
And
tag.
the more they play, the higher the level that Samus character will become.
Oh right.
So
Bit disappointing. You've got to like presumably stop and put your controller down, get the figure out, and I suppose you have it next to you prepared, and stick it on the little square, isn't it, in the bottom left of the game?
that's right. Yeah, you just stick it on there. So
Yeah.
and then, but apparently a few of the older games like Hyrule Warriors and Mario Kart have the ability to use the amiibos, and I'm sure lots of games in the future will
Yeah.
have. And I'd like to see, actually, sounds awful, but a game like um,
Skylanders.
Skylanders.
Yeah,
That,
well, it'd be
that
Pokemon, I think, or some kind of All Stars Pokemon where you have kind of Mario in it somehow, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Just
just a big sort of collectathon where you go around there and you've got to collect lots of coins in a 3D world, and you
yeah,
know, things like I don't know, there'll be shooting bits, so you have to have the Samus character, and there'll be jumping bits, you have to have the Mario character, and there's
yeah,
Captain Flat Falcon, so there might be flying bits. So
yeah,
it'll be a
yeah,
bit of a all-round game, but I've not heard of anything like that. But in the
yeah.
future, I would like to see it. But a lot of people are just buying these amiibos and then keeping
Collecting.
them in the packaging and
Yeah.
just putting them on their shelves rather than actually using them. Using
Yeah, I
them.
mean, I'm a bit of a figure. So I'm not a big figure collector. I don't like have hundreds of them. I just like to get ones that I can display nicely, as I
Yeah.
think you would have seen when you've been over mine. I've got like a sort of a geek cabinet, I call it. Where I've got like a RoboCop and a Terminator and a bunch of other guys, but they're a bit too small to be sort of any good. I mean, I want to get this is that in America they made this big ass Mario action figure that's about 18 inches tall. So I
Mm.
think it's awesome. That's like something you could really display. But these little figures, they're a bit too small, and I think they're decent quality, but then they don't seem much better than what you get in like a. Well, actually, I was about to say like a Happy Meal, but the ironic thing was there was actually a Mario Happy Meal
Well, I've actually got.
last year.
I went out of my way and brought each one of the figures,
I was
and
going to do it. Yeah.
I ended up missing one, and I had to buy that off someone in a forum,
They're actually
and
quite good.
let's just say it cost a little bit more than what the Happy Meal cost,
Oh, really? You
and
went
I
down?
didn't get the benefits of the Happy Meal.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was actually tempted to go and get some of them because I can imagine there's a lot of people our age, guys in their sort of 20s and 30s that would be up for that because obviously we grew up with Mario,
Mm.
and so he has we're just as enthusiastic about getting figures and stuff as maybe kids are now with these amiibos.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I'm holding out for that 18-inch Mario that's been made. If I can get that, that'll satisfy my action figure of Nintendo based. That even is a sentence.
So,
You know,
Trevor, are you looking for an 18-inch Italian plumber?
I was wondering where you're going to go with that when you said 18-inch. I thought you'd make
Italian plumber, is that what you're looking for?
yes, but yeah, that's right. I've got a 31-inch Darth Vader if that's of any
Oh
interest.
my God.
It is quite literally 31 inches. Little Annie, I call him. But yeah, he's great. He's kind of in a corner because there's not much. They're quite difficult to place in a house because he's very big. But yeah, I'm all about the figures. But the amiibos are a bit too small, so I
Yeah.
can't say I find them desirable as a collecting thing. So yeah.
No, but is that the Villager from what game's the Villager from? From Earthbound, I think.
Oh
So
right,
please, if I
Mother,
got that wrong.
Mother
Um,
3. Yeah, it
yeah, Mother 3 or something.
was Earthbound here,
But
wasn't it? Yeah.
that's the one that they've said, oh, we're not making any more of these, and they're all going for about £50 on Fleabay.
They're the ones that have got broken, like that were shipped with like something missing. They're going for even more, aren't they?
Well,
'Cause
there's one Samus one
yeah,
there's got a gun on both arms.
yeah. I don't know if that was. I think that's sort of accidentally on purpose, released sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be that crap and just release Samus with two like gun arms. You know.
No, I mean that it's all made by machinery, isn't it? So it'll have
Yeah,
to.
exactly. So, well, it could
Yeah.
happen. I suppose. I'm not. You can't dismiss it completely, but I think these are a little bit accidentally on purpose. It's probably Nintendo are selling them on eBay in disguise as someone else. I know
Yeah.
what that game is. But yeah, yeah, Amiibos. Yeah, they've done well there, but I still think they should drop the price of the Wii U. So it's about 150 quid just to kind of capitalise on that because I think they're still being a bit. They seem to be way more savvy about pricing things in like the 90s. They've kind of gone like idiotic. All the
Mm.
marketing people from those days have either gone or been replaced by a bunch of idiots. Or in fact, actually, even to the GameCube, when they knew they were not going to outsell the Xbox, original Xbox and the PS2, so they were like, oh, let's make it 130 quid, and so people would just buy it as like a casual thing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I've got a DVD player. I don't want one just bolted onto a PlayStation. I'll get a GameCube. That's what I did. I got a GameCube, and
I
before
bought the GameCube on day one.
I got it a few months later, but yeah, it was one of the I think it's one of my favourite console of that gen, the fifth gen I think it was. Yeah,
Was it really?
yeah. Well, you kind of some people count the Dreamcast as being part of it, some people don't. If the Dreamcast counts as part of that gen, the Dreamcast is my favourite because I'm a Sega fanboy. But yeah, they were good. Like I remember when the N64 came out, it was stupidly overpriced, and Sony very cleverly dropped the price of the PS1 the day the N64 came out. But
Mm.
then a few months later, Nintendo whacked like 150 quid off it, which would now you'd be like, oh my god, the share price is going to get annihilated. That's probably what they'd be worried about, I guess, with the Wii U. But yeah, and it was like 100 quid, and I was like, shit, I want one now, and I got one for Christmas.
Because
And
the
yeah,
N64 was a cracking machine.
oh yeah, it was, yeah. I think the PlayStation is the best of that gen.
Mm.
It was cheaper and the games were bigger because they're on disc. I think graphically I think they actually looked a little bit better, some of them, not counting GoldenEye and stuff. But yeah, I think I preferred the PlayStation, but the N64 was really good. You couldn't do without it really if you were, a gamer then, because you had, well, basically GoldenEye and Mario 64 and probably Mario Kart and
Well, at the
Diddy Kong.
time, it had the games that I liked, and at the time, the N64 was more powerful than the
Yeah,
PlayStation, and you could see that clear as day.
the
It
PS1
had
didn't
a
have real equivalents to those, to GoldenEye and things like that. It had like, well, you had like Doom, like a port of Doom, and there was
mm,
like sort of first-person shooters that came out, but GoldenEye completely blew all of them away. And it wasn't until later that the place that I can't think of a really good PS1 first-person shooter. It's
well,
probably
there
really,
was the Medal of Honor games.
yeah. Like Quake 2 was good. I was like, how the hell could they get Quake 2 running on the PS1? And it
Mm.
was actually did a bloody good job. That
Siphon
was good.
Filter.
That was a third person though, wasn't it?
Oh, I
More
suppose, yeah.
based shooter. Then it was just you running around as a bloke that were called then. Before we knew how to make those sort of games.
Mm.
That was a good game because I finished Metal Gear Solid and then I was like, oh, there's no other kind of games like this. And Siphon Filter came out, which is kind of a rip off of it, but it was unique with a third person view. That was quite
Yes.
good. Well, that was probably one thing where the N64 it didn't have a Metal Gear Solid or a Gran Turismo or a Final.
No, no, but they had the Mario Karts, and there were a few other racing games on there that were quite good from
Yeah, that's
memory.
right.
People always say that Beatles racing game is quite good. I've never played it, but that's what a lot of people talk about
Racing
on the
game.
internet.
Beatles racing game. Oh, you mean the one that, as in like the car, not like the band
Yeah,
players, the members of the Beatles. Oh yeah, I think I
yeah,
know what you mean. Yeah, there was like a quirky little Beatles kind of kart game, but it's not karts, it's cars. But yeah, if that makes sense.
yeah. If you ever see that, pick that up. It's a great game.
What was that
Well,
on PS1?
no, no, no. N64,
Oh right.
N64. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't many good kind of non-kart racing games. What Wipeout 64 was good, but it was just Wipeout 2097, but a bit jerkier or something. And then there was Ridge Racer 64, which is Ridge Racer Type 4, but blurrier because it had like ridiculous anti-aliasing the N64 had, because it just fudged out everything. But it was still good. Um, yeah, I think the games I enjoyed the most, I think GoldenEye, ISS 98, um, and Super Mario 64, Mario Kart. Actually, there's loads. Yeah, Perfect Dark was good.
Well, talking about the PlayStation,
We were talking about the PlayStation. Should we? Is
and
that?
that's a segue. They do that on
Yeah,
the One Show.
that was quite good. Very, very, very subtle.
Subtle. What do you think about? Obviously, it's 20 years of the PlayStation,
Yes.
and Sony have been making a big sort of song and dance about it. And they actually came up with, I think, quite a good idea
Yeah,
They've
the
sort
20th
of
anniversary.
made a computer game shop in your part of the world, sort of East London somewhere.
Yeah, I worked down the road from it, and I actually never went to it.
Oh, you don't.
I was thinking every day, God, I need to go to this PlayStation shop, but I didn't actually go.
Oh,
But
you
yeah,
should you should have done. Anyway, so they're celebrating 20 years. So by opening up this shop in I think it was Bethnal Green or somewhere,
well, yeah,
where
it's
you can
sorted.
basically
Yeah.
buy PlayStation 4s for £19.94, and they're the limited edition grey models that come with I think two controllers and a camera.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. Yeah, I think it's called the shop was called PlayStation 94 because that was when it came out in Japan. We got it a year
mm,
later, or about 10 months later, because that was the standard thing that they did with consoles then.
yeah,
Um, well, the PS4 came out here before Japan this time around, which is the first time that
it
happened.
did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So they opened this quite cool PlayStation 94 shop, and yeah, it's got loads of PS1 and PS2 and PS3 games. I don't know where they got their stock. I'm guessing they just bought a shitload off eBay and just flogged it so they could fill the thing. I was gonna go, yeah, well, I was gonna go, but the main thing was, yeah, like I said, they were selling PlayStation 4 20th anniversary edition, and just people don't know the 20th anniversary edition PS4 is basically a PS4, obviously, but with the same grey colour as the original PlayStation, which is still,
Mm.
in my opinion, the best looking of all the PlayStations, including the PS4, which is actually quite sexy, I have to say. And it's got like a little 20th anniversary logo. I think it's covered in the button symbols, isn't it, as well? I think like the whole unit is covered in them, like slightly fainter grey than the actual body
I
colour.
think it's something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know. I haven't seen one close up.
there's
I
one
was
side
I,
covered in
I
symbols.
was actually offered one from one of our customers.
Black.
Got me on Facebook, and he
Yeah,
was trying to sell it to me, and I thought, well, I'll probably pay £500. You know, give him an extra £100. And as I was chatting to him, I was looking on eBay, and they
yeah.
were selling. These were completed sold listings for £2,000 to £3,000.
Christ, it's not worth.
Now, you
Well, I
know,
mean, I'll pay 400 quid for one. I mean, I was trying to work out ways because I've already got PS4 of selling that quickly and using the cash to get another one. But with Christmas coming, I just don't have the spare money.
no,
So
no.
that boat's sailed now, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I wouldn't pay that much even if I had 2 grand, unless it was
No.
literally burning a hole in my pocket and I was that rich. Because I'm a fan of collecting hardware, like funny little variations. I've got a lot of them. I've got like the Crystal Xbox.
Mm.
It's a really limited edition. There were shitloads of them, but I think it looked cool. As in the original Xbox is like a see-through one that was very cool. When it came out in the UK, funnily enough, and Japan, they didn't
I,
get it in
I,
the.
I want to get the clear green one.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Is it Halo? Was that for Halo?
I
Halo
think
2.
it may have been. That's the one that I've always got my eye out for.
You got the
But
green controller with it as well, yeah, the see-through.
right
That
next to me, I've got an Xbox original. But if I think honestly, it's sitting in a bag. I've not even plugged it in.
No, I
Um,
mean, I had a little Xbox original phase about a year ago. I actually had it plugged in and I was playing it for a little bit, and I got I think a 360. 'Cause
mm,
I was a bit, late to the party with the 360 being a PS3 sort of guy for most of the last gen. I've talked about it in the last one. So I started playing a lot of those games on that. Though it was annoying because Metal Gear Solid 2 doesn't work on the Xbox 360. In fact, a lot of the games I really like don't work, which is annoying.
I think
Uh,
they made sort of a priority to get the games which had online features.
yeah, Halo
I
2,
think that was
obviously.
their priority because all the Halos and
Well, I like all
you,
the weird, silly games like Conker's Bad Fur Day work. Well, Conker Live and Reloaded, as it's called in the Xbox remake.
yeah,
That worked perfect. But all the
mm,
two fighters, of which there's quite a few on the Xbox, which is not a console people think of when they think of 2D fighters, but there's a lot. Like my favourite is SVC Chaos, doesn't work. King of the Fighters 2002 doesn't work. Well, it kind of works, but it's glitchy. Marvel vs. Capcom, most importantly, doesn't work. Not if it's not playable. Street Fighter Anniversary Collection does work though, which I'm pleased about.
yeah, that's
Um,
quite good. I had that at one point.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, playing you get Street Fighter 3 with it as well, which I really liked. And what was the other one? Metal Slug. That doesn't work either. So basically, SNK games don't really work, which
Trevor,
kind of sucks.
do you want to hear my my Metal Slug impression?
Do it.
Fire shot.
That's really good.
That was
Could
good,
you
isn't it?
provide the voiceover for the for those games?
But you gotta, you know, it's because I've heard that a lot, and one day I made the mistake of putting on Metal Slug 2 or Metal Slug 3 or something in the shop, and it's
That's
the
not
most
a mistake. Great.
noisiest
You
arcade
can say
game.
that was not a mistake. It's one of the best games. It's
It's
such a
it's,
good game.
it's a brilliant game, but God, it's loud.
It is, isn't it? You have to kind of turn it down a bit, don't you? Because there's so many explosions.
I know, but we're not clever enough to know how to turn down our arcade machine.
Yeah, it's
So
probably it'll literally be a screw though or something. It won't be like a dial.
honestly, we've opened it up and it's just a mess of wires
It's
and
yes,
and things like that. So
is it
anyway,
yes, like a real,
talking about hating lots of wires in an arcade machine.
which is something we need to touch upon.
Yes. What do you think about? There's a game called I've not played it, but I'm not don't really know anything about it really. A game called Hatred.
Oh yeah,
Has been removed from Steam. Have you heard much about it?
yeah. I mean, the it's basically for those who don't know about it, which I guess is you as well. It's it's the yeah, it's like an indie game. I can't remember the name of the studio, but it's some like small studio. And they basically made this game where you're just this long-haired bloke going around killing everybody indiscriminately. I don't know if there's like a campaign like with a storyline, or if
Hmm.
it's just a random like bullet hell. It's not even a bullet hell game. It's nothing. The people that are shoot there isn't really people that shoot back at you from what I see in the trailer much. It's just
Hmm.
literally like a Grand Theft Auto, but from an isometric perspective. But whereas a Grand Theft Auto, you get punished for going around killing people. Well, you can escape the police, but if you really start going on a rampage, you're probably going to die when you get 5 police stars. But hatred is that you can just go around killing everybody, and there's like kids, women, cops. You just kill everybody in a really gruesome, violent ways, and the trailer is horrific. It's just this dude saying the main character saying, "I hate all humanity and I want to die a violent death." So I'm going to go out today with a bunch of weapons, shoot everybody, and probably myself at some stage. So it's pretty bad. From a morality point of view, you know it is the worst. It might be the worst game ever for like morals, but
Okay, well, I'll ask you the question. I'll sort of answer it as well.
yeah,
But then there's all these people on YouTube mainly saying, "Oh, well, it's terrible. Steam are,
yeah,
censoring games for us." But the way you just described it, I mean, I've got no intention of searching it out and playing it and
yeah.
things like that. So do you, a bit of a sort of a loaded question, really. Do you think that Steam should be censoring the games? Is that their role as a
No, because
distributor of games?
Steam will probably sell Grand Theft Auto 5. They've got games like Hitman and things like
Mm,
that, which are very violent. You could probably name a million games on Steam that have extremely violent. Probably not to the degree of hatred, but
mm.
um, where do you draw the line? Is it okay if you can go around killing people, but there's a story? Does that mean it's all right if
It's
it's in?
okay to kill people
Yeah,
if the character's quite funny,
yeah. If he cracks a few wisecracks, and
you know.
I mean, Duke Nukem Forever, which was a shit game. Although I actually thought it was quite funny and I liked it.
Mm,
But I like Duke Nukem. That he just, he's very like stereotypical like male action hero to the point where he's completely sexist and misogynist. But as a storyline in the campaign, so Steam are okay. Yeah, they have a lot of really grim games that have quite nasty content, but they shouldn't be censoring games.
mm.
Um, it's the same as that whole thing. You might touch upon this anyway with GTA 5 being removed from that Australian store, Target, whatever it is, when they probably
Well,
sell like
that's, in my opinion, that's ridiculous because
yeah, I mean they
the
probably sell DVDs of The Godfather and really violent movies, but they're quite happy to stay there. You know,
yeah, and in all honesty, that game's for one, it was out a year ago, and it's come out, and anyone who wants to buy it can just go to one of
Yeah,
a
it's
hundred
sold.
other shops in Australia
Yeah,
and
it's basically
happily
sold
buy it.
what it's gonna sell. Yeah. Oh, I mean, Rich on Review Tech USA. If you don't watch him on YouTube, you should check out Review Tech USA.
Oh,
He's
I
brilliant.
do. I watch Rich from Review
My
Tech
views tend to
USA.
sort of tally with his. So yeah, he's really cool. But yeah, he made a really good point of like, you know what? There's this great thing that you can manage who plays your games. Don't buy them for your kids. If you're a parent,
Mm,
don't buy the violent games for your kids. Only adults should be playing these games who presumably, you would hope, know the difference in make believe and real life. You
yeah.
know, so if you're a parent and you're whinging about these violent games being made, you know what? Don't buy it, and you shouldn't be buying them anyway, which is
Mm,
exactly spot on. You know, I mean, I'm on the side of like Anita Sarkeesian and all these feminists because I think women can be, I should be portrayed better. I don't
mm,
think you could have a go at Grand Theft Auto because it's just a realistic interpretation of real life, and unfortunately, real life has prostitutes and people have sex with them, and people can kill other people, and they might be
mm,
women, they might be men. So it's not like they're like, yeah, we're going to make women look rubbish in this game. That wasn't their agenda. They were just trying to portray a real world, and unfortunately, the real world has these things um, in them. I think you just need to have more female lead characters. But anyway, that's a whole another, you know,
Have you seen that game, The Crew?
what the like the Burnout kind of Ubisoft edition.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
basically,
played it.
I
Yeah,
haven't played it either, but I've just listened to a podcast
yeah,
while I was burning iron. Is that the right word?
pumping iron.
Pumping
Yeah,
iron, not burning. Yeah.
yeah. You're quite
Anyway,
handsome and buff already, so I don't know why you need to do it. I'm not even
well,
like, but
just
I know a
keep
couple
on
of
top of it. Body's a temple.
men.
Anyway, they were saying that this game, The Crew, has got this storyline which is incredibly, apparently quite sexist,
Really?
and it made me. I think, oh, actually, I want to play that game because this story looks horrendous. Because they
Just for
were
the hell of
saying
it.
that at the beginning of the story, this
Yeah,
policeman catches you, stitches you up for a crime that you didn't commit, and
yeah.
then gets you in jail, and then later on in the game, or you get out of jail at one point, or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're doing missions for him. So he's sending you messages and phoning you up on your phone in the game saying, "Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me?" And you're going, "Oh yeah, yeah, no problem. I'll do these missions to make the story move forward."
It just sounds like Watch Dogs.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'm not that bothered. I mean, Ubisoft are kind of, well, Ubisoft, and they pronounce it. They're kind of under fire at the moment because they like to release half-finished games and then patch them later on. Although the crew is actually, I think has been all right, isn't it? No one's moaned about it's broken and it crashes and there's people with the eyes floating in the air but no face and all that stuff that they're kind of famous for now. But it just seems like it's just Burnout or like Need for Speed: The Rivals, both of which I've played and I actually like.
Mm,
But I've not got really any desire to play
mm.
Crew. But it sounds like, I mean, the idea that you've got the whole of the, like a big chunk of the US or all of it or something. I don't really
You've
know.
got literally all of the US, but the way it is that they were describing it is,
Yeah,
San Francisco is you will not drive around every street of San Francisco. It's an area that looks a little bit like San Francisco. Like
it's
it'll have the
basically
big bridge, it'll have all the hills,
yeah.
and then you drive into the desert, for 10 minutes, and then you're in Las Vegas. So
So it's
it's an
basically
area that looks like Las Vegas, and
yeah.
then you drive east out of the city, for another 15 minutes,
So it's
and
basically like
then
Pilot
you
Wings.
get to New York or something.
Yeah.
So,
So you remember Pilot Wings 64 when you had like the little USA?
mm,
It's like that where you kind of fly all around it and you'll see all the cities, to a limited smaller versions of them. Also on a bigger scale, but yeah, it's like a sandbox with interconnected chunks of each city, sort of thing. But that's still quite cool. That hasn't been done before, so
mm,
I might check it out when it goes on. I'm not a huge racing fan.
no, I'm not. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to get a next gen racing game. 'Cause for one, I'm not the biggest fan of them, and things like Drive Club's come out, and that's been mixed reviews on that.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? Yeah, The Crew, and that's been semi. It sounds like a lot of grinding to get your level up. But then the only really good next-gen racing games have been on the Xbox One, as in the
I've got
Forza series. So and I
5.
don't own an Xbox One, so I don't
Yeah.
see. I don't know. I wouldn't buy an Xbox One just for the Forza games, even though I'm sure they're very, very well done.
Yeah, I've got Forza 5, and I actually quite like it. I'm not really big into career-based, super realistic driving games, but Forza's quite good. I mean, you can turn on like all kinds of driving aids that help you to make it a bit more arcadey. Because I kind of prefer the Ridge Racer style of games, which are
Yeah.
completely realistic and ridiculous, but they're kind of more fun to me because you don't have to worry about all the admin like in the menus and everything that you have to do with Gran Turismo these days. But Forza I quite liked. I put a good few hours into it. 5 was the first one I played. I hadn't played any others. I bought it because I played a lot of the initial Xbox launch games to death, and I wanted something else, and that was the only one left. So yeah.
You didn't play Rise, did you?
I didn't. I played what? Sorry.
Rise.
Yes, I completed it.
Oh
Yeah, I quite
no.
liked it. It got ripped to shreds. But basically, it's just Streets of Rage Roman edition, which is probably why I liked it. 'Cause it's very it is very simplistic, and the moves are the same moves; they don't change. But I quite like that. The storyline was quite cool. I hope they make a sequel and they can address some of those things. But yeah, Rise was actually quite good. I quite liked it. It's very short. It's only about 8 hours long, and it's very linear. So it's not like it's 8 hours storyline, but you probably will end up doing double that wandering around. It's not. It won't. You probably will take literally 8 hours to complete it if you sat and just start to end. But yeah, no, it was quite good. But yeah, I might check out The Crew, but I'll probably wait until it's sort of going for a tenner or something. Which is
Exactly. I think the same here.
Yeah.
Well, the news coming out of since Black Friday
Yeah.
has been that the Xbox One in the US and the UK has
Yeah.
sold more than the PlayStation 4. So do you think that's just a blip in its fortunes, or a general turnaround in a blip, or a turnaround in its fortunes?
Well, I think the main reason is Phil Spencer,
Phil Spencer
Phil Spencer, not
is the main reason.
the ABBA helped them create like ABBA, like produce some ABBA songs, I think, and various other '60s songs. Now this is another bloke who works for Microsoft. He's now in charge of the Xbox business. He replaced the previous guy whose name I forgot, who was the idiot that said things like, oh, you can't go on the internet with your console. We've got a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. When
oh yeah,
that's the Xbox
One.
That was
like
a
good line. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, oh, you don't want to play old games. You don't want to play 360. You want to play 360 on like your Xbox One. That's really backwards. As in backwards compatibility. And he's just coming out with some stupid shit. But he left, and they got Phil Spencer in, and he's just completely turned it around. He said, you know what, guys, people don't want to connect. Let's release a Connect without the Connect. Let's release an Xbox bundle without the Connect. And he did that. Dropped the price. He's done some really good bundles. Yeah, the guy has been awesome. And I think
he's seen around Black Monday that they had some much better bundles, like with 3 or 4 games, an extra pad.
Yeah, you had like Assassin's Creed one where you got all the Assassin's Creed, you got all the Call of Duties, and
I think you could get Assassin's Creed if you bought that bundle, the Assassin's Creed Unity. That you could actually physically buy that 2 weeks before the actual game came out.
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, it's annoying because I like physical discs, and I think every time when you get a bundle now, it tends to always be a download, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite often. Yeah.
I bought the game separately because it ended up being the same price, weirdly, as the ones that had bundles in. I think I just got it with Rise, but no, there wasn't actually a Rise bundle, so the only thing you could do was buy a disc. No, I got it with FIFA 14 and Rise. You could get a FIFA 14 bundle, but I didn't get that. I got FIFA separately, so I got a disc, and I'm all about the discs. That's discs. Yeah, I think it's because of him, and I think also they knocked off another 30 odd quid off the price for a couple of weeks, wasn't it? A limited time.
Yeah.
So it's 330 quid. Although I think Sony did match that. I think.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but I don't think it's a blip. I'm not saying that it's going to overtake it now. I think they're going to be more even, and I think we're going to have a very similar. Well, I was going to say a similar generation to last gen, because that started off with the Xbox 360 miles ahead. Well, the Wii blew everybody away until the end, when it
Mm.
really completely died by about 2010, because everybody got bored of waving a thing around in front of a TV. But yeah, the HD twins, the 360 and the PS3. It was interesting because everybody wrote off the PS3 in 2009. People were saying, yeah, they've completely screwed it. It's way too expensive. No one cares about the Blu-ray player. The 360 it has won. The 360's won. It's over. But in the subsequent sort of 3 or 4 years, it caught up the 360. And I think if you look at the sales figures today, well, they only release them periodically, don't they? I think they're about even, and
They
that's the
are
first.
about, because you get
Yeah,
it's in America, the Xbox 360 definitely outsold the PS3.
I
But
think in
then in
the UK as
countries
well.
like
In the
when you go
UK as
to
well.
Italy, when you go to Spain,
Europe
and
is
a lot
different.
of European countries, the PlayStation has sold a hell of a lot more consoles than the
Yeah,
Xbox. And
yeah.
then of course, you got Japan,
Well, that
where
was.
people wanted a HD, next gen console. They all bought the PlayStation 3
Yeah, it was
just
like true.
because of
Never came out. It's not on board it.
exactly. And the Xbox 360 was just, you know,
Well, it's funny because a lot of people have jumped on the whole resolution gate thing with the Xbox One, saying, "Oh, it's not powerful enough. That's going to mean people
mm,
aren't going to buy it." I mean, people should know now that the most powerful console hasn't always won, and I think most of the time the most powerful console hasn't won. The last generation, the PS3 was the most powerful, but very few developers could take advantage of the cell processor. So when you had a multi-plat game like Batman, the Batman Arkham Asylum, or something like that, or a Call of Duty, it would run better on the 360, even though that was less powerful. The
well, the
Gen
360 was basically a PC. So
Not quite. It had Power PC architecture, but yeah, but I guess they were similar to a PC than they were previous consoles, where you tended to have, Sony would completely build it from scratch, or Nintendo would build it from scratch. Now they just go on Amazon and just buy an Intel hard drive, or just put
they,
it in a box with a Sony logo on it.
they
They
just go on
make
that. Trevor,
PCs.
did you say they just go on Amazon and buy components?
Well, actually, yeah. I mean,
What
they
they do?
probably
Do they just phone up Dabs? They go,
surprise.
they go on
They
Dabs and
probably
go, oh
surprise.
yeah, can I have 10 million i7 processors, please?
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's
can I
AMD,
have 10
isn't it?
million 8 GB of RAM sticks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
10
Well, if someone
million
that's like,
500 GB hard drives? Yeah, can you
yeah,
send
yeah,
them to the Sony factory, please, in Japan?
yeah. Well, someone that's is also sort of a PC gamer. I mean, like both the consoles are nowhere near as strong as a really good gaming PC, which is the first time that's kind of happened.
Mm,
Um, PCs became things that people game on. Because it used to be that the consoles would come out, then about 2 or 3 years later, a PC would come out that you could actually play this similar graphical quality. But yeah, going back, this is like the PS3 didn't win. The gen before that, the Xbox was the most powerful. The original Xbox didn't
mm,
win. Gen
no.
before that, you could just keep the N64 was the most powerful, didn't win. So Game Boy versus Game Gear versus Lynx, Game Boy won. Most of the time, the most powerful console. And what's interesting about the last gen was that basically all three consoles were nearly neck and neck, which hadn't happened for a while, because the gen before that, the PS2 annihilated everything,
Oh, that
leaving
just dominated.
it completely annihilated everything. And then
Mm,
the gen before that, the PS1, completely annihilated everything. The last time we had two consoles that were basically on the same was probably the SNES and Mega Drive.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Some people say, "Oh yeah, the SNES one or the Mega Drive one." Well, marginally. but there was no console that was literally like 100 million units, and the rest was scrabbling around with 20 odd million, like literally a fifth of the unit sales. I think that I don't think we're going to have that with this gen. I think they're
But
going to get close.
but do you think that the fact that Street Fighter V, I believe that's down to 5, being a PS4 and PC exclusive, do you think that will make any sort of difference? Because no.
No, I don't think it will. One, I think it will be a timed exclusive. So I think it's going to come out on the Xbox. I mean, remember the Super Nintendo had Street Fighter 2, and they thought, oh, it's kill the Mega Drive. People still bought the Mega Drive because it had Sonic and all that on it.
But I think this deal was done 2 years ago when because Dead Rising came out on the Xbox One, and that's made by
I've got a question for you then. A similar question. So, Rise of the Tomb Raider is now an Xbox One exclusive, although I think everyone's saying that it's a timed exclusive. Although not the general public that aren't particularly game savvy like we are might not know that, so they'll just see, oh, only on Xbox, Tomb Raider. Do you think that will help the Xbox? You know,
I think Tomb Raider is just not a big enough franchise.
No, I agree.
Now, because you see, the problem is, I had a discussion with someone in the shop that if someone comes in and goes, my system, I've got Tomb Raider, and then and then the PlayStation owner will go, hang on, well, I've got Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, right, okay. And Uncharted 4 is, all the Uncharted games have been absolutely, they haven't done a dud one, they've all been absolutely brilliant.
Well,
and what's it, Naughty Dog does not make a bad game so far.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, they're basically the Uncharted games are the current Tomb Raider, really. Although the new Tomb Raider game was really good, but at the end of the day,
no doubt, and it will sell well, and it will sell systems. But you've still got to think about, people's memory of Tomb Raider games. They've done a lot of them, and a lot of them have been very hit and miss. You had the initial ones which were very good. You had some PS2 ones which were quite poor. You had some on the Xbox 360 which were sort of remakes of the original ones, and I never remember them being that particularly good.
I didn't play them. The last one I played extensively since before the new one, which I did play. Well, it was great. I completed it. The new one was Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation on the Dreamcast. That was the last one, and that wasn't great because the puzzles were really irritating and vague. Lara handled like a bloody. It was like moving a tractor around with no tires. You'd have to perfectly position her over some scroll for her to pick it up.
No, it's just. Really,
things have moved on at that stage.
I invite anyone listening, or yourself, Trevor, to go and play Tomb Raider 1.
You would struggle
on the Sega Saturn or on the PlayStation, and that game, it does not control well. It's all the controls are just so nothing feels natural. You can't see where you're going. It's just a mess of pixels.
There's too many buttons as well. He's got a different button to make her slowly walk. There's a different button. I mean, you could argue, that's kind of, it's just the nature of that time period. People didn't know how to make third-person cover.
I'm not. It's an amazing game, and it's a tribute to how good that game was.
But
it caught everyone's imagination the way it did.
Yeah.
Because people still come into my shop today and they go, I want to get. You got the Tomb Raiders, and I'll they're only a couple of quid each. I happily sell them to them all day long. But I know that they're going to go, it's just not going to be the memories they wanted. Whereas some of the 2D games will be. If that makes sense.
But at the same time, as much you can blame because it was just the nature of the early kind of 3D games. You had Mario 64 came out the same year. Well, in Japan, 1996, and that was the same kind of thing, really. But Mario controlled like perfect compared to Lara Croft. It took some getting used to because people weren't used to analog sticks. I remember I was really cack-handed with Mario 64 initially because it was just really weird being able to move someone around in like really subtle directions. But compared to Tomb Raider, it was like a breeze. But it's only Uncharted that got it right. with the control, and the new Tomb Raider's taken that. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Street Fighter it's not as big as it was in the 90s, the early 90s. It's still, to be fair, for Street Fighter 4, they did a really good job of rebooting it and bringing it back to a new generation. But it's not like Grand Theft Auto level or even Call of Duty. But to be honest, those games, if you really wanted to completely screw over the other console, you would get one of those guys. I mean, you can imagine if Microsoft said we've got Grand Theft Auto 6 is an Xbox One exclusive, people would drop the PlayStation in a heartbeat and buy an Xbox One, or they would at least buy an Xbox One as well. But you couldn't pay Rockstar enough money to have it.
No, you've basically got to pay them all the money they would get from every Xbox One copy of Grand Theft Auto 6 that they would sell.
And they would still lose out on multi-platform sales, or on like there's normally there's a PC version, there'd be no PS4 version, so you know, I don't think you could give them enough money to want to do that. And I think you'd probably get a lawsuit from Sony for like trying to monopolise or something, you know. But they're all getting all these little battles, but I don't think neither of them are really going to win. If I heard Street Fighter, well, I play games on PC as well, so it's coming out on the PC, and the PC version will be better than the PS4 version, so it's not really exclusive. It's exclusive for the dumb box that takes discs, that plugs into your telly and doesn't do anything else but play games, in that sort of realm of technology, but generally still buy it on other platforms.
Because that's what Rich from Review Tech USA, who you were talking about earlier, he was saying the Street Fighter, you know, it's not actually exclusive, it's actually on the PC as well. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to you know, a one-on-one fighting game, that's not something that PC players will play. I can guarantee that game will sell 95, 96, 97% of its copies on the PS4, and it's only coming out on the PC just because it's going to be very easy to port. As a, you know, a little bit of a, you know, let's make a little bit extra money, let's make a little cherry on top. We'll bring it out on the PC as well, because PC gamers, they don't want to be playing that type of game. It doesn't feel like a 2D beat 'em up. It is a PC gamers type game. It's more a PS4 game, a PlayStation game, an Xbox game.
Well, I think it's an interesting point. I think fighting games on PCs are becoming more popular. I wouldn't say 95% of the sales will be on the console. I think it'll still be big though. It'll be like 80%. But you know, chances are it'll be at least a tenner cheaper, probably through Steam.
They haven't got to pay Sony, have they?
No, so it'll be cheaper, and also it'll look better because you'll be able to crank up the settings to probably do 4K, and there's no chance an 8th gen console will ever be able to do 4K unless you want it to look like a slideshow. It's a beefy computer to do it, but you could do it. And these days you can just plug an Xbox 360 controller into a PC and it'll just play exactly like the console. Especially if you Steam Big Picture mode, you can have your PC boot straight into your library of games, and it can act exactly like a super advanced console. Especially when you've got these like Alienware alphas coming out that are literally just consoles. You know, a lot of people saying, you know, people should just buy these instead of a console. At the end of the day, they're still about £200 more than a console, and you're not really getting a big benefit. And that, you know, you get 1080p on every game you play in 60 frames a second, but most people aren't interested in that. It's just geeks like me and you that like reading the Flame Wars and all that stuff that you get between people on Xbox. But yeah, they're not as popular. But PC gaming is growing, you know, at a rate that's probably bigger than it ever has. So I think you'll find a lot more of those games that traditionally were console only will start appearing on the PC. It's annoying when you get a big delay because Ground Zeroes is only coming out. It's coming out next month, I think, and that's like a good 7-8 months after the console version. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming out next month. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that'll be like on a PC, because that can be played in 4K as well. But you have to pick up a ridiculous graphics card. You probably
Yeah,
have to run two of
hell of a
them.
lot of RAM, I imagine.
Yeah, well, it's not normally the RAM; it's more the graphics card. You probably need two of them. I mean, I've got
Mm,
a laptop with a 980M, which is the most powerful GPU you can get in a laptop, and mine won't be able to do 4K.
no.
It won't be able to do it at 30 frames a second, but yeah, if you've got a PC and game on it, you want to try and run everything at 60. So, but yeah, I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll. People will say, "Oh, screw my Xbox, I'm gonna get a PS4." It might sway casual people that are thinking about which one to buy, but you could easily those sort of people might be swayed by Rise of the Tomb Raider. So, and well, you've also got like Quantum Break, haven't you, and a few others that are coming out, and you got The Order 1886 or is it 1866 coming out?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it won't be till there's an Uncharted. Well, Uncharted 4's coming out, isn't it? So something like that is what will sway people, and they'll just keep doing these little exclusives of these kind of. I mean, what would you call them? Kind of second tier in terms of popularity kind of game.
Well, I think Tomb Raider. I mean, the second tier. I think it's a little bit wrong way to
It's probably in
describe it.
between, isn't it? It's in between second tier and
Yeah, I'd say top tier is always Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, FIFA,
Yeah,
maybe the Assassin's Creed games.
yeah.
Games like that, Football Manager maybe, but that's always a top tier. That's the top one's always guaranteed to sell, bucket loads every year. But
Yeah.
a Tomb Raider game it has the potential to be, a top game, and it depends what the reviews are going to be like for this game. Will it be 10 out of 10s, or will it be 7 out of 10? Could do better, and
Interesting how it fares against Uncharted because I think Uncharted 4 is guaranteed to be awesome, unless everybody at Naughty Dog have like gone idiotic. I don't think they can really put a foot wrong. So I think it has to be as good as the first Tomb Raider, which was really good. Apart from, I agree with the whole thing. Like Lara goes from being this naive, fairly innocent character to someone that goes, I'm coming for you all, you bastards, which he literally says at one stage, and you end up having this sequence where you've got a machine gun and grenades and you're just killing 30 guys. But so yeah, there was that whole thing where people were like, oh, that transition happened way too quickly, from a first kill to like saying I'm coming for you, you bastards. So yeah, but the trailer, well, you didn't really see anything, did you? It was just like a nice little video clip of her seeing a therapist.
what do you think? Talking about trailers,
Yes.
I'm changing the subject now. Talking about trailers, what do you think about the new Star Wars trailer?
The best bit was a Millennium Falcon coming out of was it Mos Eisley again, or some kind of Tatooine place? Yeah, I liked it. I was kind of hoping you'd see like Luke Skywalker and some of the old gang, but I guess that was never going to happen in a teaser.
No.
I'm definitely going to go and see it. I do
Oh
like.
yeah, 100%. I'll be at the cinema day one.
Yeah,
But
same. Yeah, I mean, I saw all the. I remember I went to see the special editionals. I was too young to see the originals when they were out. I was only born when Return of the Jedi came out. But I saw the special editions, the originals when they came out. And then I saw like episode 1, 2, and 3 the night they all came out. And well, obviously 1 and 2 were crap, but episode 3 I thought was actually quite good. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. But yeah, it's whet my appetite. I'm not like, oh my god, that's amazing.
I'm pleased with that, because I've really enjoyed the 2 latest Star Trek films with J.J. Abrams being the director. So I want a little bit more story, characters, rather than all the rubbish that we got in the Phantom Menace, the Clone Wars, and the the Return of the Sith, or whatever it's called.
It was funny. I was playing Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace on the PS1, the like adventure game that came out around the same time. I remember I got it the day it came out because the film was out a couple of weeks before, and I was like shit, and I pre-ordered the game and I got it the day it came out, and the game was really good. But the film is some weird political drama interspersed with Jar Jar Binks, and when you compare it to the films, it's like what? And then the second one is more of that. But then the third one's just a good all round kind of, it does tie up all the loose ends and it links it really nicely. But it doesn't quite make up for what happened in the previous two.
No.
but yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's a good film. It stands on its own. Hayden Christensen's actually kind of tolerable in that, and it was just cool seeing Darth Vader and the Death Star at the end. I got the shiver down my spine when I saw that when I saw it in the cinema.
What do you
Um,
think? What do you think about the new lightsaber?
oh, what do you mean that weird one with the two bits coming off it? Well, I heard it was because this dude, I think it's the bad guy, isn't it? This fella is like some really old Sith from
Mm.
like, thousands of years old. So he's using a really old lightsaber, and that's how they were built back in the day when he made his.
Ah.
So that's apparently the explanation for why he's got a silly ass lightsaber that's probably going to cut his own hand off when he tries to use it. If that's what those little flame things coming out of it are actually two more blades. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So you liked it as well?
Oh, yeah, very impressed with it. I thought it looked like you know, the first three. You'll see it 4, 5, and 6. The original. That's what it
Yeah,
reminded me of. So
yeah, I
I
agree.
was pretty pleased with that. And in my opinion, they're the only three Star Wars films that have ever come out.
Yeah,
You know, I can't describe the other three as Star Wars films in my eyes.
yeah,
You know, it's a trilogy, even though there is six of them. It's
yeah,
just one trilogy, and
yeah.
there are some other prequel bollocks which
Spin-offs.
I didn't really spin-offs which were aimed at kids or whatever they're aimed at. But you know, the original Star Wars is that's where it's at, and this reminds me of that. And the fact that J.J. Abrams, I know I keep on saying his name, he did Lost, and I actually love Lost. He did Star Trek films. I really like the Star Trek films, and so many other things. So I think
Yeah,
it's in
yeah,
good hands, and the fact that they brought back a lot of the original actors, albeit a lot older now, and I'm only expecting them to make a small cameo in there, not really have a big role. So all of these things go, yeah, they're doing it right. They're doing all the right things. You know, they're out on that desert again, and it had the stormtrooper at the beginning, and lots of things. I just generally really liked about it. And I mean, I think it's next Christmas or something is coming out, isn't it? So
yeah. It is.
it's about a good year away.
Yeah,
Um,
probably about a good 6 months from another trailer as well. So.
exactly, and so I'm definitely really looking forward to it. So
Yeah, I mean it's funny because obviously I'm quite a big Trekkie, so I actually like the two J.J. Abrams films, even though probably people are throwing things at the screen now when they hear me say that. But I actually quite liked it. But
I thought they're both absolutely smashing films.
yeah,
They're
I liked it. It did a great job of rebooting it and getting new
mm,
people into it. And what's interesting is now J.J. Abrams has buggered off. There's the rumours that Jonathan Frakes might be directing the next Star Trek film, which I think would be great. And for people that don't know, Jonathan Frakes was Riker in Star Trek: The Next Generation. And if you're thinking, oh, why should he be making a film? He was just an actor. Well, he actually was. He actually directed two of the previous Star Trek films. One is Star Trek: First Contact, which is one of the best of the original 10. Um, so it might actually work in Star Trek's favour if J.J. Abrams is Star Wars. If they bring Frakes back, although a lot of people think, oh no, it's a terrible idea. He can't make things. Too many things have changed now. He
mm.
makes director of a lot of TV as well, like The Walking Dead and uh,
That's from my point of view. I think it's almost he's put down his mark, and
yeah,
for the studio. I don't know who's it, Disney or
Paramount.
whoever.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams has got that. These have been two successful films. You know, I'm handing over. I don't need to direct the third one. You know, you've got the basis here. The characters are built. You know, it's almost.
you
You,
could
you
just
know,
yeah,
here's the baby. Don't fuck it up.
yeah.
And
I mean, if they do the same Transformers films and kick Michael Bay off, so we can stop having films that are basically humans featuring some Transformers, um, then that'll be an improvement on for them as well. So I think it helps sometimes when you get change it up a little bit. You end up with sometimes an improvement. It doesn't always work, but Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I've seen a few Michael Bay films, and I've not really known they're Michael Bay films, and I've kind of enjoyed them. But what's your
People.
problem with Michael Bay? Why do people not like Michael Bay?
People tend to think his films are just basically CG showcases when the storyline doesn't really factor in that. Like Transformers, the first one was actually very good,
Mm,
and after
That's the
that,
only one I've seen.
the first one was very good. The second went on for too long. The third one also went on for too long, and the fourth one, uh, well, they're just the storyline's a bit. Well, at the end of the day, it's you're talking about a bunch of robots, so it's difficult to make anything that looks realistic. But yeah, the storylines were just a little bit annoying. I guess it was because for me, as someone that grew up with Transformers and is still a fan, for me, I want it to just be about the actual the robots. Where frequently you spend three-quarters of the film knocking around with some humans, and the Transformers are just kind of put in around the human storylines as opposed to their storylines.
Mm.
Basically, none of the four compare to the original Transformers, the movie from 1986, which
Look,
it's still not.
I remember the original Transformers. They never had many people in there anyway, or
Yeah,
did they?
exactly. It was just a couple of token humans, just so we can relate to them or whatever the writers
Yeah, you
thought.
knew how big they were, or
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So
90% of it was just Autobots and Decepticons shooting at each other and doing various things.
mm,
Whereas the ratio is nowhere near that in the new Transformers. If I was making a Transformers film, I'd put it on Cybertron and have no humans in it, and it would just be Autobots versus Decepticons, and that would be that. But I think they're worried. The studios are worried that if you don't have humans in it, people won't be able to relate to the characters. But if you give the robots really good personalities so you end up caring about them. You don't
mhm.
need humans, but people don't seem to think that's possible. But basically, they need to get me to make the next one. I think I'll do a good job. But yeah,
Yeah, I think we've done our hour now.
I think we have it actually, haven't we? We went a little bit over there, didn't
We missed out. We'll save
we?
these for now. I won't read them out, but we'll save them for next time. And
Okay,
we'll put,
sounds
and we'll
good.
put some other news stories in for the next one. But I've got to shoot because I've got to watch the final episode of The Missing,
Oh,
starring
I
on
guess
BBC One.
they'll find the missing people. Then I guess.
Oh,
Worth it for
oh,
you.
why have you not been watching? It's been really good.
I don't watch a lot of TV shows, funny enough. The only one I really watch is The Walking Dead. If I'm at home and I've got, something that I want to do something, I tend to play a game. And it's difficult
Mm.
to play a game and watch telly at the same time, which I can actually do because I have it on a separate screen. But yeah, The Walking Dead's the only one where I'm like, right, drop everything, let's sit down and watch it. I've got too many other interests that kind of just distract me. Movies, I'll drop everything more often than sit and watch. But
Yeah.
yeah, shows I'm not so great on. But yeah, I guess you are if you're watching
Well,
this.
I like a TV show because they're a little bit shorter for
Yeah,
my short attention span. That's it. Just one more little bit of breaking news. Not that
yes,
breaking. It's not like
right now.
Anyway, the funstock.co.uk. I'm not
Yeah.
paid to shout out their website. Now have the Retron 5 in stock.
Oh,
So
the retro. They could play. Was it NES, Mega Drive, and Game
Game
Boy
Boy
and Game?
Master System.
Yes. Yeah, I've been interested in getting one. I mean, to be honest, I tend to play emulators on a computer, on a PC, and often the results are actually a bit better than what you'll get on
Yes.
one of these consoles. But I can understand that it's just be great to have a unit that you can just whack straight in your telly, chuck a cartridge in, and it will just play it, which you can't, which isn't quite which is a lot better experience than configuring emulators. Well,
Configuring emulators and using the original. I mean, I'm a big fan
yeah,
of the original hardware. That's where I think they should be played. But then you get a
exactly.
lot of people who they haven't got the right TV or hasn't got the right sockets, or some consoles, only outputting RF, or the Game
Yeah,
Boys are just, if you unless you got a really nice one with a backlit screen, it's very difficult to play. So yeah,
That is
totally.
it's got HDMI, so literally all the retro games could just go straight into your HD TV
Mm.
with no messing around, which is really good. And it's a lot better than a Neo Geo X, which kind of got panned because it was, well, crap compared to a real one.
It was. I think they did an update which solved a few of the issues, but overall it was a bit crap. Yeah.
Yeah. What you actually what the Neo Geo X? Yeah, it was like the video output was rubbish and there was lag and all kinds of weird VSync was crap. You might
Mm.
as well, I got a Neo Geo CD off eBay for like 100 quid, and it plays. You can burn CDRs. I'm not advocating piracy. Let's be fair, I don't think SNK could probably that bothered these days. But yeah, you could play CDRs on it. So you can
Mm.
play literally 90% of the Neo Geo library with just loading times, which you have to deal with. They're not as bad as people make out. But yeah, if you want to play that, that's a really good alternative to the Neo Geo X. A Neo Geo.
Yeah, the real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Right.
Trevor, I'm going to let you go.
I'll let you go too. And yeah, so hopefully we'll try and get another one, probably after Christmas, isn't it? Because I think we're all going to be busy
Yeah.
with Rainbow. But we're going to get another one in, and we're looking to hopefully get some kind of video version of this next year, but we're not going to say too much just yet. It's still in the early stages. So yeah, so stay tuned for the next radio show, which will be in the new year. And yeah, thank you for
Like,
listening.
share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Go to Playnation Games, buy stuff.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.